Welcome back to the Enactus SSE Podcast, where we bring you inspiring stories, insightful conversations, and innovative solutions from changemakers, leaders, and social entrepreneurs. I'm Vedika Agarwal, and today we have a very special guest joining us, someone who embodies leadership, creativity, and a passion for driving positive impact. Our guest today is Mr. Rahul Das, who is a dedicated research professional working at CEEW within the clean air water. He is also a proud alumnus of the SSC batch of 2021. His short but enriching journey since college reflects dedication, innovation, and the pursuit of solutions that create a lasting difference. In this episode, we will dive into his experiences, explore his perspectives, aspects that affect the modern sustainable livelihood in India. We will also discover what motivates him to keep pushing boundaries. So grab your headphones and get ready to be inspired as we uncover Rahul's experiences right here on the Enactus SSE podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Rahul. How are you doing?
Thanks, Vedika. Thanks a lot. Doing well. I hope you guys are doing good too. Very excited
Yes.
to talk to you today. And yeah, let's jump into it. Let's go ahead.
Yes, let's go. Okay, so starting with the first question. Uh, with the journey of SSC, as we see, how did your time at Symbiosis School of Economics shape your interest in research and sustainability?
Okay. Uh, okay. So that's like you taking me back almost approximately
From the
three and
start.
a half years ago.
Yes.
Like seems like a long time ago only because of we had COVID also coming in between, and we had very few months of actual college that we had. As soon as we started to know each other and get into the main part of college, that's when the fun part came in, COVID hit and we all had to go home. But yeah, to answer your question, and coming back from don't want to deviate because we lost out on a lot of stuff when we were away from college. But see, what SSC actually did well, in fact extrememly well, is that SSC's course is very practical based. It's very applicable, applicability based. You don't have the regular theoretical knowledge that you usually have. So, but and the only point of comparison that I had was that I did my bachelor's in University of Calcutta. Not the University of Calcutta. It's Calcutta, and Bengal is a place from where amazing folks in economics have come out. A lot of Nobel laureates have also come out from Bengal and Calcutta itself. But again, not demeaning that place. It has the kind of education system that is there. It's very theoretical. It's very bookish kind of thing. But what happened at Symbiosis, the immediate change that I saw is that there was a lot of soft skill development. There was not a focus on personality development that was there. Okay, so for example, the presentations that we had, the presentations that I'm pretty sure Vedika, even you guys must be having, they are credit
Yes.
based. And when you have that, you have some amount of accountability to put in effort into that. That you can't just go on stage and say anything that you want to say. You need to do some amount of research. So that's where, and I put in a lot of effort into them. All the presentations that I made, they were well researched. They had a lot of data points that I used to usually go through. So again, I think that practice of getting into evidence based research somewhat cultivated that idea that okay, so research is something that can actually work in. Policy is something that we can actually explore. That's also a career.
Yes.
So that's where I got into research, into sustainability. So again, see, if you think about sustainability, it's like need of the hour. We all know that climate change is here, and it's a pressing
Yes.
reality that we can't run away from. So
Actually.
my idea basically was that how can we I can work in a place that has some amount of overlapping uh, of overlap between research and sustainability, and that's where CEW happened. But again, before CEW as well, now I'm working in sustainability, core sustainability, climate change. But before that, I worked in very general policy as well. So I think yeah, somewhere because of the practicality based approach that Symbiosis takes, the more apply your skills and you get better with them kind of attitude that
Yes.
Symbiosis has, is where I started to and of course we had very amazing seniors as well who used to work in in the public policy space. So I think somewhere or the other, that's where I started to get into research and sustainability.
Yes, got your point. Totally. Okay, so I'll move to the next question. So, what motivated you to specialize in urban development and focus on climate change and sustainability?
Okay. Uh, Again, very beautiful question, because uh, I don't know what Dr. Jyoti now mentions to you guys, but during our batch, the focus was that, she used to motivate a lot of people to go into urban development, uh,
Yes.
because so we had four verticals back then. We had, if I remember correctly, we had finance, we had international economics, we had urban development, and we had development studies, which was more of a rural and a general development in itself. And a lot of people actually went into finance, because it just sounds very cool that, yeah, we are doing a master's in economics with a specialization in finance. For me, it was a bit different, because I always wanted to work in climate change and sustainability. So that was at the core of it. Now, so and if you think about, say, the Indian economy or India's development now, or not only India, let's think globally. If you see any country's global development, urbanization and rapid urbanization has been a very common feature. It happens everywhere, and that is what drives your economic growth. That is what drives your development at the core of it. Now, as soon as urbanization starts to happen, you have other issues that, start to creep up along with the urbanization. So for example, like pollution, improper waste management, resource management, finances, everything goes for a toss. As soon as you have rapid urbanization, unplanned urbanization, that I think
Yes.
every developing nation currently faces. I think you guys must be studying about this as well. So I think that's where, so that was one reason, absolutely, that I knew that India's growth is pushed by a lot of urbanization. Number one. The second thing was that, see, as soon as you have urbanization, you have the problems, but that also gives you a very, a massive opportunity to innovate solutions. For example, say electric vehicles or solar panels. They were not topic of discussion uh,
True.
10, 20 years ago. They are being discussed now. So I think somewhere or
Yes.
the other, I had to find an overlap. And also the other idea. So these were two core things. The third thing was that, for me to go into urban development was also that I knew that a very less number of people are going to go in for this particular specialization. And so that basically meant that the courses that we will have will be taught by the best of the best, because symbiosis will obviously try to promote them. Not saying that finance was taught by poor faculty members, but again, the resources that you will get will be very tailored. So for example, I remember we had Dr. Ravikant, who was from he was an ex-consultant with the World Bank. He had worked with the ADB and all that. He used to take our municipal finances course. Then we had Mr. Nem, who is currently at National Institute of Urban Affairs, NIU. He is leading cities. It's a very massive project under smart
Wow.
cities. And the experiences that they used to share were very practical. Again, what is actually happening on ground. So that's where, I got very motivated. I got, this is something that I want to do, I can do. So yeah, I think that's where I thought, yeah, urban development will be a good choice. And it proved out to be a good choice, in fact.
Like
But
from the word where everyone was choosing finance, you chose urban development. That is exceptional. Nice.
no, I mean, even now, I think, I don't know. I think they were also, last time when I spoke to Dr. Jyoti, she was also mentioning that an AI course is also going to be introduced and something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I'm not sure about it, but something like that was going to be introduced. So that will be exciting. But again, see, my idea has always been to take the road which not a lot of people are taking. It may prove
Yeah.
to be right, it may prove to be wrong. But again, why not give it a try? I didn't actually sit and think a lot about it or something like that. I just knew that I think a four specialization. I said urban development looks something that I can do. It looks good. I know a very very number of people will join urban development. So I like, yeah, I think I should. In fact, I remember there, when for people who had joined finance, there was a huge amount of applications that went in. They had to write SOPs, and it was actually a very like a rigorous process to get finance. I was like, boss, ये नहीं हो पाएगा मेरे से. So I was much happy
True.
taking up urban development, and yeah, it proved out to be good.
Yes. Can see that actually. Okay. So now the third question comes is, could you walk us through the process of your internship at Tata Steel, as many of the students thrive to grab such amazing opportunity?
So see, Tata Steel again, it's a it's a very personal story for me. Okay, because I am from Jamshedpur. My
Okay.
hometown is in Jamshedpur. It's also
Wow.
known as Tata Nagar. So
Yes.
the thing is that it's a very close community over there. That somebody from somebody within my friend circle is going to know somebody in Tata Steel or some Tata Steel CSR initiative, and I'm going to get into like something or the other. So it was not like the regular apply for your internship, then they'll give you a call back or anything like that. I purely used the networks I had. I had a friend actually who knew somebody at Tata Steel, and so both of us we got into the Tata Steel internship. It was a remote internship because it was COVID time. Uh, but yeah, it would have been extremely fruitful had it been a field-based internship, which actually I will motivate a lot of you folks to take in. Ki go in for field-based internships, not for like office-based or research-based, core research, desk research-based internships. Because on field you'll get a lot of exposure to what's actually happening on ground as compared to theoretical things. So yeah, so that's how the Tata Steel internship happened. It was good. We were working in TSRDS. So TSRDS is Tata Steel Rural Development Society. They work in
Oh yes,
uh,
we have heard.
yeah. So it works in outskirts of uh, the main city of Jamshedpur. And what we were working on was that so there are a lot of CSR schemes in education, in health that Tata Steel takes in the coal belt of Jharkhand, specifically in East Singhbum district. It's a district in Jharkhand, so that's where. So we were
Mm.
working in one of the clusters. We were working with one of the senior officers over there, and to be honest, it was a good experience. It was so it wasn't the best, but it was good.
Okay. Yeah, it is inspiring to hear that you worked in a Tata Steel industry and it went well. And it was like one of the first internships which you took in your journey.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I know. In fact, to be very honest, Vedika, I haven't had like you know amazing experiences with internships. I consider myself
Okay.
not that fortunate, uh, in that regard. Tata Steel, I think, was one of my best internships that I actually did, and it was remote. In fact, all of my internships
Yes.
were remote. But so, for example, like now, the people that I work with at CEEW, we have interns who work with us, who support our work, and what we see is that number one, the kind of exposure that they get, field exposure specifically that they get, is massive as compared to what we experienced. So that was
Yeah.
amazing, and yeah, if we had something like that, I think I could have done much better. The kind of internship that people are doing now, along with me. So my interns, the interns I manage, are the kind of exposure that I try to give them or they get is something that I wish I had when I was in their place. So yeah, again, we were highly unlucky that we had COVID in between, but again, it's fine. You have to deal with life.
Nice.
Can't do anything about it.
Yes. Okay. So as we move forward now, now we talk about CEW. So we know that you worked at the Public Affairs Center in Bengaluru for your first job before moving to CPR. Tell us about that experience.
Okay. So I think I have used a lot of my networks and my personal connects in my early career. I think my first internship at Tata Steel, my first job at Public Affairs Center, and my first job at the Center for Policy Research all came through
Yeah.
by my known connects. I knew somebody or the other and I went and knocked at the doors and they helped me out. So for Public Affairs Center, I started to work when I was in my last semester. So I didn't attend even one single class in my last semester. I used to work. Usually we used to have recordings back then. So I used to come back in the evening and I used to see the college recordings. So that was again something I really appreciate what SSE did over there. They allowed us to go out and work in the last semester. Not a lot of colleges actually allow that. So again, huge shout out to SSE for that. But yeah, so I got into Public Affairs Center because one of my seniors used to work there. So Public Affairs Center comes out with a Public Affairs Index every year. They have stopped doing that for the last 2 years, but they used to do it back then. So she wanted some researcher for her team, and that's where I applied. Some of my people from my batch also applied, and two of us actually got through. So me and Akhila Nair, she's also my batchmate. We both used to work at the Public Affairs Center initially. It was a really good exposure, I think, because that was my first hand experience working with a state government, because I was working with the government of Karnataka over there. And it was like direct coordination work. I worked at various sectors. I worked in international migration. I worked in social welfare, rural development, education for some time. So it was amazing. It was amazing over there. But again, it was too much of desk-based work that I was in an office. So honestly, Vedika, that's something that at least I don't like doing. I want to be on field. I want extended field exposure, even now, and I had that even back then. So that's where I got to know that the Center for Policy Research, they had got into an engagement with the government of Meghalaya, and they were having a project, massive project. So they were trying to do Meghalaya's first ever SDG survey in the entire state. They were trying to see why SDG indicators are not performing very well for the state, and they were looking for somebody who can help with the coordination work, with the research work, and all that. So then I reached out to. So one of my friends actually mentioned it to me that they are looking for who was in CPR back then from my batch. So they mentioned to me that we have something like this that's come up and they are looking for somebody. So then I wrote to the lead over there. Then I went through the entire process, gave a written exam, and the usual process of onboarding. But again, amazing experience over there in CPR. It was see, because Northeast is a place that is, at least in my opinion, is a highly neglected area in terms of development. If you see India's development
True.
trajectory, uh,
Yes.
even now, if you see Manipur and recent events about what has been happening, the central government is actually, the response that the central government gives is actually a proof that they are usually neglected. Again, so again, I thought that this will be a good experience to go to a remote place, to go to a remote state and work there. Got a lot of exposure in cross-organizational, collaborations. So government of Meghalaya had not only Center for Policy Research where I used to work, they also had other big fours. KPMG was operating with them. EY was helping them with sports-related activities. So
Oh,
they had actually designated different, segments or different departments to different policy institutes or big four, uh, institutes and all that, big four companies. So we got a lot of cross-organizational collaboration opportunities over there. I learned how do you usually work with multiple teams, how do you coordinate with multiple departments at the same time. And again, it was a field-based exposure. So yeah, even now, I think, and I think to be very honest, Vedika, I think my work at CPR and my work in Meghalaya was, I think, one of the best decisions that I could take, because even now, when I introduce myself, I always use that experience or exposure to tell about my background, because it's something very unique. And I think that's something that even you folks should actually consider building up. If you get a chance to work in a remote place where a lot of people won't like to go, please take that opportunity, because it's going to be a game changer for your career ahead. It's going to
wow.
grab eyeballs. It's going to ask you a lot of questions, and that's what will be your selling point. So yeah, so
Actually.
that's what I did before I joined CEEW, and then the project over there at in Meghalaya got over. So that's when I joined CEEW.
Okay, so as now you have already said that you will, after this you join CEW. So can we know more about CEW and its working as a public policy think tank? What is your role at CEW actually?
Yeah. So, CW, I think if you guys want to know more about it, of course, I will give you guys a background about what CW is. But if you guys want to know more about CW, please, feel free to go into and check the website. Definitely, it has everything and anything that you can think about. So, CW started 14 years ago. It was started by Dr. Aruna Ghosh, and
Okay.
so it's a homegrown think tank. It's built in India. It has its headquarters in New Delhi, and it is one of, you can say, global south, not only global south, you can say it is one of the world's leading climate think tanks at the moment. So any government organization currently working calls out to CW if they need any kind of help related to climate change, related to sustainability, energy transition, etc. Okay, and the core idea on which we are built basically is that we use a lot of data. We use integrated analysis, data analysis, and several kinds of analysis. And we use a lot of strategic outreach because the work that you do needs to go out to the public very well. And we use these three things basically to explain and to change the use, reuse, and misuse of resources that we have in the economy. Because you guys must be studying that resources are very limited at the moment. So you need to
Yes.
understand how they are being used, how they are being misused, how can they be reused. So that's what we actually study and we research on. And we have three broad verticals. We have transformation, we have quality of life, and we have enablers. And within them, we have different like clean air, low carbon economy, power markets, etc., etc. A bit complicated for you guys at the moment, but once you guys get a hang of what we do, and also those things will become easier for you guys. But yeah, we work on three pillars. And if you talk about my role, so I work in the clean air team. The clean air team is one
Oh,
of CEW's biggest teams. It has around 30 researchers in clean air. And the working group that I work in is known as clean cooking. Okay. So we work to promote cleaner cooking fuels as compared to traditional fuels. So, for example, like the PMUI scheme, the Ujjwala scheme that came out a few years ago during 2016, I think in 2016. So that was a very big scheme that came out to work on energy transition. So my team basically focuses on clean cooking. We work to promote clean cooking fuels among communities, and these communities are mostly rural, but now we are also shifting our focus to urban regions as well. We are targeting very specific uh, working groups like, say, street food vendors, migrant workers, and all that, because they are usually the ones that suffer from the problem of using a lot of traditional fuels like coal or wood for their cooking needs. So yeah, so that's something that I work on currently. Apart from clean air and clean cooking, I have also expanded my horizon of research into more ideas. Like I'm also working on waste management at the moment. So yeah.
oh wow. So there is a lot of things that you worked on. It's so inspiring, so much. And like we haven't like we are being a part of Enactus, we are also working on how we can be sustainable and everything. So like hearing about that you're learning for waste management, you have worked in the clean air, air vertical, so everything is like so much to grasp at this moment.
Yeah, I know. I mean, even now when I look back at the sectors that I've worked on, I often feel that I've worked on various sectors, but I've mastered none at the moment. So that's something that I really want to start doing very soon. And let's see. Let's hope that I start doing
Yes,
something.
I hope that you get success in whatever you do. Yes. Okay, so now the next question. So, what has been your most rewarding moment professionally or personally? One that reassured you that you are on the right path? And were there any surprising or unexpected experiences that you have had in your career until now, which you would like to share with the students of SSE?
Uh, Surprising, uh, like difficult to actually think about anything surprising that has happened. But yeah, definitely
Okay.
something uh, rewarding. I would definitely say. my experience with the Center for Policy Research in Meghalaya was a life changer for me. Uh, I'll mention to you why a few things. See, I used a lot of my own personal connects to get into the Center for Policy Research. I spoke to a lot of
Yes.
people. Uh, I, them that see, this is the kind of profile that I have, and I went through the entire process of giving the interview, sitting for the multiple rounds of interview. In fact, because see, Center for Policy, I think you guys must be knowing about Center for Policy Research. It's one of India's best think tanks. If you think about it from the policy space. So they were very rigorous in terms of hiring anybody, even now. So, and in fact, they were looking for somebody in a senior role in Meghalaya. And I had just like 1 year of experience. So, by any chance, I was their least preferred candidate when it came to selecting me. Where
Oh,
I got lucky was that nobody I was actually willing to go to Meghalaya to be stationed there and work there. I was. So that was something that was unique to me. Now, when I went there, uh, the best thing that happened was that it was field based. So we used to travel a lot for work. And Meghalaya, like if you read about it, there are 11 districts. So I have traveled across all the 11 districts because we had to meet uh, any department that you can think of, health department, be it
oh,
nutrition, be it education, be it any scheme, say Swachh Bharat Mission or say Awas Yojana, Civil Supplies Department, every single officer we had to meet just because we wanted to find out what is the core issue why SDGs are not, there. And the amount of travel that was actually required for that role, uh, made me realize that you need to get into the habit of traveling. And when you do that, you also have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your health. So that's where my professional life gave me a lot of learnings for my personal life. I got into traveling, not only for work but also for leisure, and I got into fitness only because of my work that I used to have in Meghalaya. Because you have to keep yourself fit. You have to keep keep your body and your mind agile all the time when you're on field. Field might sound very fun, but it's actually not. It's a bit rigorous. It's enjoyable once you get the hang of it, but I know the best people who have struggled a lot on field. So that's something that completely changed me. I started to take care of my body. I started to get more into fitness. I started to travel. I think yeah. To sum up, I think that was my most rewarding experience. My work in Meghalaya it changed me as a person, even in my personal life.
got your point actually. I'm listening for about Meghalaya so much that it like kind of introduced me like northeastern part. You have to explore that area too and get to know about that part of India more particularly now.
Yeah, yeah. I think even if you think about it from the tourism perspective as well, it's not a very well explored region. Beautiful landscape, but not very well explored. Only because of the
Yes,
sheer remoteness that it is in, and that is also a reason why that area is not very well developed. So because people are even if you see the multidimensional poverty index, Meghalaya ranks I think the last or the second last, I think, just after Bihar or something like that. So it's actually bad. The situation is actually bad. It's like, if you think about it from the tourism perspective, it's a beautiful landscape. But if you think about it from the social perspective or the development perspective, people are actually extremely, extremely poor over there. And that
yes.
is something that I think at least us as researchers should take some initiative if we get a chance ever to work into. So yeah, anybody who knows me well will tell you that I talk a lot about Meghalaya because it was a life-changing experience for me. I talk about it all the time.
So now we have actually 6 minutes left, so I will ask you quickly the last question, and you can sum
Uh,
it up in 2 minutes as such. So, as we wrap this episode, as an alumni of SSC yourself, what key advice would you give to the current students who want to pursue careers in research or public policy?
okay. Uh, so see, again, I think my advice will be not only for people who want to get into research or public policy, very honestly, because see, that is again a career choice that happened to me. I didn't dream about becoming a researcher when I was in my say 11th standard or 12th standard, or even when I was in my first year of say masters. I didn't know that I am going to become a public policy researcher or something like that. It just happened to me. So if you ask me for advice, I will the advice will be very general for me to all the students of SSE, that you so if you ask me to sum up, I think two things. One will be a very
Yes.
uh, academic kind of a response that I will give, and the other thing will be a very personal uh, kind of advice that I will want to give. So the first thing is that you should be always true to your values, be very hardworking, and build a very strong foundation in terms of what you are learning now. Okay, and when I say strong foundation, I make get your basics right. Uh, we didn't quite, at least I didn't quite focus a lot on econometrics, and I still struggle with it even today. So that is something again very very important. You have to focus on econometrics if you guys are students of economics, or
Yes.
even if you're not students of economics. So econometrics is very very important. Along with econometrics comes some amount of software skills also that you will need once you get into your working space. And this again will be a very specific response to people who are usually in research and public policy, not so much into people who will end up in say market research or consultancy or stuff like that. But in core research and core public policy, you will need to learn some amount of coding, some software you will have to learn, rs data, whatever. You have to learn the basics of how do you clean data, how do you visualize data, how do you analyze it. So that is again something that you should learn. So this is the academic advice that I will give. The other the personal advice that I will give is that please travel. Nothing else. Please travel. If it's for work,
Field work.
if it's for leisure, please travel. Because travel is going to open your eyes to life. Basically, you will not learn in class what you will learn on field, or what you will learn on
Actually.
when you are traveling. And travel can be very cheap. Trust me, I was there in Pune for a very short period, but we had amazing travels. We used to go for trek near Lonavala. We used to do that, and it used to be very cheap because we used to take local trains, go there, take a local bus, do a trek, come back, one day issue. And that used to it gets you into uh, like you know gets gives you a feel of the local cultures and all that. So yeah, travel. And again, second thing will be take care of yourself, because now you guys are young. What you guys do now won't show up, but once it's late 30s, it's going to show up. So take care of your body, please. Eat well,
Actually.
rest well. I know it's a time to have fun, definitely, but again, it's something that you guys should do, because it's going to keep you alive throughout your life. And staying alive and staying alive are two different things. They might sound synonymous, but they're not. So again, I think that's what is going to be summing up the advice part of it. Travel, keep
Yes.
yourself fit, and keep your basics right.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was so good to hear from you about everything. It was so good to talk to you. So I
Super.
extend a heartful gratitude to you, Rahul, for sharing the incredible experiences with us today. Your work and wisdom truly inspire us at Enactus, and we are honored to have the opportunity to learn from you and hear so much about the experience which you had in your life. So a big thank you to the listeners as well, who had supported us and motivated us. And today's conversation definitely left us with valuable takeaways. So until then, stay tuned and keep making a difference. This is Enactus SSE signing off. Thank you so much, Rahul.
Thank you, Vedika, and best wishes to all the students. Huge shout out to you and Ishan for arranging this, and to SSE in Actors.
Thank you.
And yeah, I wish you guys all the best.
So I want you to visit SSE campus soon so that we can have you face to face and we can converse more about stuff.
Sure, definitely. So If you guys would have let me know about this, I think around 2 months ago, I was in Pune
Oh,
for work, so I could have made some plans to visit it. But again, it's okay.